Hey folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. I just got back from a 3,000-mile road trip with this beast right here. That is the Jeep Grand Wagoneer L, and I loaded up my family of 5 and drove all the way to Louisiana from right here outside of Toronto, Ontario, and I want to tell you all about it right now. First thing I have to tell you is, well, why the Jeep Grand Wagoneer? Well, we actually reviewed this exact vehicle here on the channel, and when we had it, I looked at it and said that would be a perfect road trip vehicle. I have 3 kids, all of them are 5 or under, so we needed something big that could fit in big car seats, plus handle all of our stuff. Now, this is the Grand Wagoneer L, and L does stand for long, and essentially the L model doesn't get a lot more passenger space, but it gets a ton more cargo space than the standard Grand Wagoneer. So that's one of the main reasons I reached out to Jeep Canada, and they were nice enough to give me this thing for the big road trip. So now let me go through the positives and the negatives, because we found both of them on this trip. And the first positive I'm going to start with is right here. That is the Hurricane, the 3-liter inline-6 twin turbo engine. Now, of course, you can now find this under the hood of the Ram 1500, but it also underpins the Grand Wagoneer and Wagoneer lineups. And as far as I could tell, it is an excellent engine. Power delivery feels immediate, feels like it comes on strong, low in the rev range. And this is an extremely heavy SUV, and the power makes it feel lighter than it is. Now, I'll get to the negatives of that weight in a little bit, but you totally forget how heavy it is when you put your foot into it because of how much horsepower it has. So yeah, I think the Hurricane is absolutely a hit, and I didn't find myself missing the Hemi whatsoever, just because this thing makes more horsepower than that, and the way it's delivered is great. So on the positive side is absolutely the powertrain. Now, the first negative is all of that weight. This is a heavy SUV, and it feels like it. I actually found myself really having to adjust my driving style when I was coming on an off-ramp on a highway. I had to slow down earlier, and don't forget, I had an SUV full of kids and stuff, so I didn't want to do anything aggressively. I wanted to be ultra smooth, and the second you put your foot into the brakes, you just feel how much weight you have behind you. So I had to dig into the brake pedal deeper, and then coming through those corners, I had to slow down way more than I normally would in most other vehicles and SUVs. So yes, the heaviness of this thing absolutely comes through in the handling and in the braking. And when it comes to braking, I can honestly say I do wish the brakes were either a little bit bigger or just a little bit stronger here. Back to the positive side, and this one might be a little bit obvious, but it is just straight up the size of this vehicle. You have so much cargo space back here when that third row is still in use, and that allows you to do exactly what I did. Use all of the seats, but then still bring enough stuff to go away with your family for a full week. And most full-size SUVs, I would say, prioritize this space, but not all of them do. So it is important to go take a look at how much comes behind the third row. In the case of the Grand Wagoneer L, you should never have to worry about cargo space or passenger space. Now we're inside, we have to talk about the technology. We had a chance to use this system a lot the entire way down and back, and I have both positives and negatives. On the positive side, there was a ton of information here. The system does look good. I like the way it's laid out. I like that over here on my home screen, you can set which boxes you want, so you can tell it exactly which information you want. I think this is important to be able to have a map and then see what's on the media and also have your phone up there. So I like the way it's customizable. The layouts and the look, those are the positives. Here comes the first negative though. It's just straight up laggy. The whole system lags. Occasionally it doesn't want to load. So watch this. I scroll through some satellite radio channels. I come to Kids Bop Radio because my kids want it. Why do I have to watch the system scroll through every channel between the one I was on and the one I went to? It doesn't make sense. I just went there directly. It should just go there directly. So it's things like that where to me, it seems really slow for what it is. Occasionally too, you click over here and it can't even load these screens. Right now it's working great, but I had that more than once as well. So yeah, just the lagginess of the system, especially in 2024. These days, most things we own technologically, they don't lag. Our cell phones are lightning quick now, and that's what we expect out of technology, and this system did not deliver that. It was laggy and glitchy the entire way. Back to a positive. Comfort, not just suspension comfort, the way the thing drives down the road, but the seats in here are incredibly nice. Lots of adjustment. My favorite one is the headrest. Not only can it go up and down, but it can also telescope out and really meet the back of your head. So it just has this really nice feeling in your upper back when you can adjust that headrest properly like that. And then the other thing about these seats, of course, they are massaging. Now, the one funny thing I found, there's a screen down here in the center which controls the massaging seats, and it can be hidden away. So there it is. Now, what I want to say about this screen is that everything on it is redundant. You can also access all of this stuff right up here. So on our entire road trip, I never used this screen. I tucked it away and essentially forgot that it existed. So maybe an owner wouldn't do that, but for me, I'd rather have access to my space and my plugins down there for the USB. But sorry, back to the actual seats here. I turn on my massaging seat and it's so comfortable. And again, this is one of those things where driving for an hour or two, yeah, the massage is nice. Yesterday we did a 12-hour day. We did Nashville, Tennessee, straight through to Barrie, Ontario, which was roughly 12 hours. And let me tell you, around hour 10, the massage felt so good. I was sore and tired, and everyone in the car is asleep, but that massage, it actually helps to keep you awake a little bit, keep you engaged in what you're doing, but mostly it gives your body a chance to feel something different, to feel like it's moving around a bit. It just seems to fight off that kind of achiness, that soreness you can get. So on the long road trip especially, the comfort and the massaging seats were excellent. And now back to the negatives, and this one kind of really bugs me. Over here on my cruise control buttons, the top set button has been getting stuck. Right now it's stuck.
What happens if we don't find my hat before we go?
Speeding up, totally stuck. And I cannot get it unstuck.
That was you braking?
Yeah, I can dig my nail in and pry it back up, and then if I hit it again, no, it's still stuck. Now it's better. But it's taken off again. It is now speeding uncontrollably again, 80, 90, 100. That's brutal.
Yeah.
It was a safety issue, and more so than that, again, if I spent the $140,000 Canadian that this Jeep is worth, I would not be okay with having a button that just doesn't feel right and is getting stuck. So that was a quality issue right there, and definitely an unfortunate one to have. Now let's talk about the fuel economy. So the total for our trip was 5,031 kilometers, which is about 3,100 miles. Now the vast majority of that was highway driving, but then of course once we got down there, we did run around into the city. We went down into New Orleans once, so we were doing some city driving as well. And the Jeep managed 13.9 liters per 100 kilometers, which is 17 miles per gallon, which is the combined rating for this SUV from the EPA. Now, the EPA also says it gets 20 MPG on the highway, so the fact that the majority of the driving was highway, I would have liked to have seen the number be a little bit better, but quite frankly, for an engine this powerful and an SUV this heavy, 17 miles per gallon kind of makes total sense to me. So while I wish it was more efficient, of course, at least it did nail that EPA rating, but there is one more caveat. Jeep says that it does require premium fuel. Now I'm in the back, and the overall message I have is everything back here is really well laid out for families. First of all, you do have top tethers in every single position back here, so that you have some flexibility with where you put your child seats. Only one set of lower latch in the back, but still that is okay. But more so than that, I love all of the storage. Cup holders here, a little storage here in this console. Of course, the big monster storage down here, and my oldest son was able to store all his stuff in here and access it while we were rolling down the road. And then I really like the way this seat tumbles and pushes. It gives you tons of space for ingress and egress. And then for your third row passengers, USB ports back here, and those were being used almost our entire trip, and a little cup holder, plus a little cubby for your stuff. And let me tell you, it was all full. In fact, when we got home, it looked like a bomb went off in the back of this Grand Wagoneer. But overall, throughout the entire trip, it just felt like the kids always had enough space for themselves, all of their stuff, and their own little personal space, which is important. And then, of course, there's the entertainment system. It worked well on the trip, too. We were able to tether it to my phone on the Wi-Fi and roll down the road watching shows. Now, you can get Wi-Fi in the Jeep as well if you pay for a separate plan. So yeah, overall, if you're planning to load up this vehicle with kids, it works great for it. And you can't forget about the fam cam. Again, this was a great way to keep an eye on our kids, especially our youngest, who's still in a rear-facing child seat. This is an awesome feature for families.
Hi, and you know what my favorite thing was?
What?
It was having fun with my family.
Going on a massive road trip like the one I just got back from honestly tells you a lot about a vehicle, so let me try and sum up this Grand Wagoneer. Now, on the downside, I still go back to the same thing, the price point, because at this price, I really can't forgive some of those issues, the sticky button, the laggy technology. Those are things that if I owned this thing, I would be super frustrated about. Now, on the flip side though, I can confidently say, if you're looking for an SUV to haul your family, all of your stuff, plus the dog, plus grandma, in absolute comfort, this is an excellent SUV for that. It eats up the miles on the road. Now, of course, though, folks, I want to hear from you. Please drop into the comments. Let me know what you think of the Grand Wagoneer. Let me know what road trip you're planning this year, because road trips are the best. We had such a fun time in Louisiana, so I always recommend if you can hit the road, especially with your family, go do it. But yeah, that's it for this one. Now, leave me that comment. While you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of the Truck King channel, and then come right back here to see what we're testing next.